Welcome to our tip of the week. Today I'm going to be talking about the importance of practicing enduring vulnerabilities, and what that really means is that there are times in our life when we are going to feel vulnerable, and that generally that's an experience that most of us want to avoid for one reason or another. I don't know about you, but for me, the idea of feeling vulnerable is scary for me. I feel in those times often small, perhaps weak, even fragile and uncertain. However, it is so very important that we build our capacity to endure these periods of vulnerability. There's a strong link between feeling vulnerable and building our capacity to adapt to an ever-changing world in a healthy and balanced way. And the process of allowing ourselves and our children to feel vulnerable builds our self-confidence, our self-esteem, our belief in ourself. And so there are many, many benefits to this. What I'm about to share with you comes from the research of Dr. Gordon Neufeld, and he is a child psychologist that has written a book called Hold On to Your Kids. It's a fantastic book, and he uses this model when working with children and parents. But according to his research, what he has found is that many of us avoid feeling vulnerable. However, if we allow that and we learn to allow that, we become these incredible beings that can adapt and are so very, very resilient. And there's ways that we can work with ourselves and our children in order to build this capacity. So, often what we'll see are folks, and I know even for myself, that when things around me are changing, I want to avoid that experience of feeling vulnerable. I want to keep things the same. I want to feel in control. I want to feel safe. And so often I will fight to control my external circumstances. And I know that when I start to do this, it's not a very fulfilling experience for me. I'm not at my best. And so I'm really trying to build my awareness so that I can catch myself and really ask myself, what is it that I'm trying to hold on to here? And am I avoiding the feeling of vulnerability that's associated with the change that I'm going through? And how do I allow myself to feel my fear, my grief, my sadness, my loss, whatever it is that I need to feel, so that I can make that internal shift that needs to happen in order for me to grow as a person and adapt to the circumstances around me. And the beautiful thing about this is that when we allow ourselves to feel vulnerable and we allow ourselves to process and experience those emotions and feelings and thoughts that are difficult for us, is we come out the other side and we realize, wow, I did that. I survived it and I was okay. Our self-esteem increases and our confidence increases. So you can see why this is really important, that we build this capacity within our children so that they grow up to be these healthy, resilient, confident adults that can adapt to an ever-changing world, because the world is changing so rapidly and there's so many things around us that we can't control. And I want to make the connection between this and lateral violence, because that really is where the bulk of my work is. I can see where many of us in our communities are fixated on controlling situations and circumstances around us, and it often can lead to a feeling of futility. So as hard as we work and as hard as we try, we can't control what other people do or say or the things going on around us. And so if we're not able or haven't been able in our lifetime to learn how to make that shift from trying to control external circumstances to going inside and allowing ourselves to have a process that helps us grow and adapt in a healthy way, we can experience a feeling of futility, frustration, which often will lead to anger and attacking of those people around us. And so we can probably all speak to our own experience of this, and also have all been witness to other people having this experience. And so what I'm really inviting you to do this week is to sort of notice where there are opportunities, there's changes happening around you, whether they're changes that you want or don't want, just notice as you let go of what's familiar or known to you, and you allow yourself to start to cross over into unknown territory, unfamiliar territory, that you may experience a feeling of being vulnerable, of maybe being uncertain, unskillful, perhaps afraid, perhaps fragile. And just notice what you notice about that for yourself. Notice if you have a high tolerance for it. How long can you endure that feeling of being vulnerable before you feel like you have to do something to control the situation? Make sure you do it in a safe way. It's so very important that when we or another person is going through a change, that we hold them in a place of being naturally creative. We hold ourselves and them in a place of being naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. That we don't try to rescue each other or ask to be rescued, but we just support each other through the process. Create safety from one another and allow ourselves to experience that feeling of being vulnerable, so that we can build our internal capacity to be even more resilient than we are today. So just notice what you notice about that. Notice what you notice about yourself in that process, and just really stretch yourself. Allow yourself to feel vulnerable, and just see what happens. Have a great week. Bye.